How you doing, everyone? Sean back with the Sci-Fi Model Guy, and here we are with Chapter 2 of the U.S.S. Enterprise 1701-C full series build. And in this one, folks, we're going to be doing all the priming and prepping the model for the light blocking. We're going to be painting the interior of the ship. We're going to talk a lot about the details of that, what's involved. There's quite a bit to talk about in this, believe it or not, and we're going to get all to it. So the only thing I want to mention is just make sure to send an email if you're interested. Send me an email at the sci-fi model guy at gmail.com. Send me pictures of your builds, what you're working on, things that you've done before. Hopefully if it's sci-fi related, but if it's not, that's fine. Send it over to me, and occasionally we're going to be doing more of the viewer mail, which we've already done one video of those to showcase some pretty nice builds from some folks out there. So keep them coming, everybody. Even if you're partly working on something, you're in progress, send it over. Let's showcase it. Again, this is about you, and let's see what you got. I want to see what everyone's doing and share it out there for everyone to see. So just send me an email just with your first name or the name you'd prefer to be referred as, and no last names, please. I won't, even if you give it to me, I won't disclose that online. I won't give your email address or any other kind of personal information, where you live or anything, just your name. And that's it. So yeah, send it over to me. I had a lot of fun making that little video, and I'd like to do more. So keep them coming. The sci-fi model guy at gmail.com. And with that, go ahead, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do it, so it helps the algorithm, helps get this out there, and that's very much appreciated, folks. And with that, we're going to do the old clappy thing and get this party started. Happy modeling. All right, everybody, welcome to Chapter 2 of the NCC-1701-C full-scale build series. And when we last left you, we had cleaned up all the flash and all the extra plastic that was coming off, and now we are going to be putting some masking down on the windows. So, and as you see here, I do know this is not yet fully cut off there. This was a piece there we didn't get around to finishing. I'm actually just recording this straight from ending the last video, so we'll clean that up when the time comes. So as you can see here, I have started masking off my windows, and I have decided that on this build right here, I am going to try to blacken out some windows. So you can see these masks here are a little bit spaced out a little randomly, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to light every window if I can. My only concern is, as we stated in the last video, is light bleeding. So there's light leakage, which is coming out of seams, and then there's light bleeding. So what I've got here, I've got this little flashlight to demonstrate. So the bulb is obviously here, but you see light bleeding through plastic here. And even if I mask it, okay, some light goes into the plastic and diffuses and kind of disperses out there. So one of my concerns is where these gaps are. Here, there's actually windows there, and my intention is to blacken them out or to darken them, or not, in other words, not have light going through there. We're going to mask it, paint it. So this is a bit of an experiment. Whatever it turns out to be, it will be. I do have a feeling it'll probably turn out to be okay, and the blackening of the windows will work. So where are we? So I'm just kind of randomly placing masking tape that I've cut. Now, I did say before I had some white tape that was like a good thickness and I was going to put around. I can't find it. It rolled away or something like that. So I'm going with our trusty frog tape, which I have cut into strips using a straight edge, not icebreaker mints. A straight edge. I just put some tape down there, and I just eyeballed it, and I just kind of cut strips like that. And then I went horizontally this way to cut various sizes of tape, and they're all about 1/2 inch longer. So here's how I'm doing that. I put a flashlight underneath the model kit. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I can see the individual windows. So there is a window grouping here, there's a window there. I don't know if you can see it, but I can. So that's kind of the method I'm going. And I'm just kind of randomly just placing masks. Oop, I have that upside down. That will not work. Okay. So anywhere where you don't see tape, those windows will theoretically, hopefully, be dark. So I'm just rotating, I'm leaving this flat little flashlight on, and I'm rotating the saucer around. And I might come with some large groups I want lit up and some large groups I don't. I'm just, again, randomly kind of placing these down. And I think if I do that randomly, I will get the desired effect. I don't want it completely dark. So, as you can see, so I cut these off into kind of 1/2-inch sections using the X-Acto knife to lift up gently a corner of tape just on the edge. I rotate it around, locate the windows, and plop it down there. And this is actually going pretty quickly. The last time I did this build, I wrapped tape around every single window. I wanted everything lit up. This time I'm just going a little bit more subtle. And it's turning out to be a little bit faster process. And I think the reason is because I'm not having to curve the tape, whereas before I had to kind of turn it, and the tape was able to be turned like that. So where am I? Sorry for the silence. I'm just trying to locate the windows here. There we go. Looks like I might need a new battery here in a minute. There we go. Sure is nice. So like right here, I'm going to have to turn it a little bit. I don't like that. I think that one I just didn't cut that group. We'll just put a little extra there. Okay. Yeah, go there. So you can see here the design. It's a little bit randomized. Most of the windows are going to be lit, of course, on this level anyway. Why don't we'll just continue around. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not going to film much more of this for here. You're hopefully getting the idea. And so I'm going to continue, and when I'm done, I will come back and show the resulting pattern that I came up with. Hopefully it'll be just sufficiently randomized to give it a nice effect, and hopefully the method I'm choosing here will work. Again, I don't want to have that too much light bleeding through. Okay, we're going to pause here, and then we will be back, and I'll show you the finished the finished pattern here, as well as the upper saucer module, which is the most important, most visible. So I'm working on the bottom here to kind of get my feet wet and get used to what I'm doing, and then I'll go through on the top, and I'm going to have to replace this battery here. AAA. Okay, everyone, we'll come right back in the next segment, and we'll show you the finished version of this, as well as the blocking that we're going to be doing on the secondary hull down here. So be back in a minute. Okay, howdy folks, we are done with the masking process, and it took about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, give or take, with a bite to eat, listening to some music and stuff like that. I really tried to take my time doing this. And as you can see here, we've got quite a few pieces of tape here. All of them were done with this frog tape. Basically what I did was took a strip of this, laid it down on my board, and then used a straight edge to cut individual pieces of varying widths, and then sliced them across horizontally, and then just used the X-Acto knife, picked a piece up, laid it down, and went around. And when I did that, I did it with the flashlight underneath, and I think we did show this before. Kind of aiming one way, and I would just lay a piece down, turn the model piece around, and then move to the next level down. And I tried to do somewhat of a job of randomness to here, and I think it'll come out okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no set pattern. I'm sure, well, like on the show it is, but you do what you want, and I think this is going to turn out okay. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, again, is, as we stated before, is possibly getting a little bit of light bleeding through the plastic. So if I have this blocked off, or I'm sorry, if there's a window like right here that is going to be blackened out, you can see this light is kind of penetrating through. So we'll hope for the best. I think it'll be okay. We'll see, and we'll address that when we come to it. But this is basically it, and I think it's going to look pretty cool. Having all the windows on, yes, all the lights look really cool and everything, but to be really accurate, I mean, not every light would be on a ship unless they were at some kind of an alert or something like that. Anyway, well, this is all done. So question remains, what's next? What's next is we're going to be going over to the paint station, and we're going to lay on several very, very light coats of black to block the light. And when I say light coats, I mean really light coats. The big trick on this, everyone, is because look here, you've got these pieces are in a bowl, okay? When you lay too much paint down, gravity will do its thing, as it's done for 13.8 billion years now, and it will go down. The paint will pool to the bottom, or will want to go down to the bottom, and that means it will get under this paint, under the tape mask that you've laid down. So the trick to that is very, very light coats. You go over it, and so, I mean, your first coat, you can barely see it. You dry it out, you come back and do it. And even me, I've done tons of models. It is so hard to fight the temptation to just keep spraying, because you think, oh, it's getting done, it's looking good. That's when you gotta have a real discipline here. So painting undercoat, especially even on the inside, take your time. We'll talk more about that as we go. So it's going to be a black coat to light block, and then we're going to do on top of that a glossy white coat to reflect the light that we're going to lay down. Once that's done, then we will start cutting our light strips, laying them down in strategic places. For instance, here, all the way around this section, there's going to be probably 6 or so three-piece lights. I really want this to be done well. We're going to be laying some down here in these spaces to shine down for this area. And then, of course, we have to place the navigation board that will regulate the blinking on and off of the navigation lights, which will go here and then also on this side. We're going to do white. I think the show, I'll have to go and look at the reference photos, but I think it's like the TOS show. It might be white on the belly side and green and red on the top, but we'll double check. And then, of course, we're going to have some strobes on the warp nacelles and on the back of the ship. There's a lot more blinking going on this ship than the original series Enterprise, to be sure. So now, other painting preparation, just to talk a little bit about the nacelles or the chiller grills and the Bussard collectors. So how do we attack this? To point out, and this is very important, when you lay these lights down in the warp nacelles, you're going to get these bright spots. Now, however many lights you're using, if it's 6, 12, whatever it is, each of these is going to create a hot spot. And the trick is to diffuse that light and spread it out. So to do that, what we're going to do is paint the insides of these pieces, the chiller grills as well as the Bussard collectors on the inside, with a flat white coat. And that will help kind of hide those hot spots and diffuse light and spread it around. And then what we do when that dries, we flip it over, and then we get to paint it with the color, which is, for me, the real fun part. I mean, the engine's are really what it's all about for these Star Trek ships. They just look so cool. And we're going to do that. So same concept with the Bussard collectors. White on the inside, color on the outside, and then the deflector array, of course. I'm not sure if this one is for the Enterprise or the Yamaguchi. I think the Enterprise one is more concave. We'll get to that. Then the impulse engine, of course, same idea. And on this old deck here, we do have some windows, so I did mask those as well. All right, so with that, that's the end of this segment. We are going to move over to the paint station and start doing the inside coat of these. We got a lot of painting to do on this model, everyone. The light blocking is one thing, but then on the outside there are several colors. I think with 3. I don't know if that's several. Whatever it is to you. But there's going to be 3 colors. We have a base hull color, and then there's 2 ring colors that go around here. Very intricate, very complicated, and we'll get to those techniques when the time comes. It's really not that hard. I discovered a cool technique for that, but we'll go over that when the time comes. So for now, we're going to take a pause. We're going to move over to the paint station and start painting this girl here. See you in a second. Okay, we're over here at the paint station, everybody, and the paint station, basically, as before, is just the other section of my garage. So you're seeing my garage door and a Lowe's box. Anyway, so what we do, we've got our primer ready to go, and it's this Rust-Oleum flat black primer. I got it at Home Depot or Walmart somewhere for a few bucks. So I've been shaking it up a little bit here. And as we've talked about, we're going to be giving just a very, very light coat. So in this section, what we're going to be doing, I'm going to give it a light coat, maybe talk a little bit, and then I'll pause the video, and I'm just going to be showing you about how many coats I'm doing. So these are going to be quick edits, quick cuts, and if there is some talking to be had, I will do so. One thing I may do is bring the old hairdryer into play. I don't have it plugged in right now. Again, it's late at night right now. I'm just going to do a coat or 2 here and let it go. One thing I just will say is the more time you can dedicate to this, the better. Yes, these hair dryers work to speed up the process, but if you have the time, there's nothing beats just a fan and some good old-fashioned time on the clock to let these things dry. And again, our main focus at this point is not to flood any of the pieces with paint, because there's a lot of concave or dips in here, pieces. The saucer modules both go down, so gravity is going to want to pull the paint downward. So we don't want to give it so much paint where it will start to want to follow that path, just enough to stick to what's there, and that's it. No more. We don't want it going under these little bits of masking we've done. Otherwise, it just defeats the purpose. So, okay, with that, shaking it up, we're going to give a light pass. And just real quick, I do have the tail section of the ship here. I am going to coat this in black as well. Not on the insides, however, because there's no lights there. Just we're going to be channeling out some area for the wire. The only reason why I'm coating this in black on the outside as well is because this black is going to affect the tone and the darkness of the paint I'm going to put on top of it. So I want it to all be consistent. So that's why I'm going to be giving a coat of black on this part, even though there's no lights on here. And well, obviously the nacelles, we want to use black because there's lights in there. So for here, black is only here just to keep the color consistent. All right, here we go. I'm just going to give it a light. And I'm holding this about 10 to 12 inches above the pieces. And just very light. And we did talk about painting in the last video. As much as you can, you want to start when you press the button on the can or even your airbrush. You want to start it away from the model and then go over it. And the reason is because if you press the button here on top of the piece, you're going to get a little extra paint at that part as you will in the rest of them. So we want that initial bit to be outside, and that creates a more consistent flow. It's a little more wasteful of paint, but it does get a better job. So that's it, everyone. That's all I'm doing for here. I do have my glove on because I'm going to be picking the pieces up later and painting more directly like this, but not yet. This is as much as I want. In fact, the lower saucer I put a little bit heavier than I would have liked to, but this is it right here. I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes, turn on the fan. I might even just come back in the morning and do another coat, but this is to show you how light. Every coat you do should be about that, okay? And over here, it's going to take several coats. Let it take several coats, everyone. You will be thankful for it in the long run. You'll get much better coverage, and it will just end up in a cleaner model. Okay, pausing the video now, and we'll come back and do a second coat, and we're going to keep doing that until this is done. And then, of course, as we get to where we think we're going to be finished, we'll be taking a flashlight and shining it underneath to make sure. Guaranteed, when you think you're done, you're not. So, all right, we'll be back in a few seconds. All right, folks, round 2 of the painting. Now, I'm giving my paint can a good shake here. Now, it has been over 24 hours since I did this. Some things came up. So, I've been shaking up the can here real good. It's been a warm day, but I still like to shake it. So what I'm going to do on this second round here, just real quick, I've got my neoprene glove on, and I'm just going to lift up the piece, at least here, and remembering to still start outside or away from the piece. I'm really kind of exaggerating it here, but I want you to see that effect. So now, there's where my thumb was. All right. I violated my principle there. I kind of started over it just to show you it's easy to forget. So this one I'm going to hold up upright like this. Again, exaggerating, and I'm wasting a bit of paint here. Okay, and that's about as much as I want to go. It's still looking dry to my eye as I'm going. Whoops. Okay. Now just with the pieces here. Okay. A little bit more than I would have cared for, but that's okay. If we stop ourselves in time, that's fine. It shouldn't pool. I'm not like going crazy. I'm actually going very much less than I need to, but I'm doing that by design. I'm trying not to anyway, be in a hurry. Now this one, there's no tape on there. I could lay it on a little more thick, but I'm not going to. I'm doing these rounds anyway. So there's 4, and then of course we talked about the tail section. We're going to give that a quick squirt. Go outside. Okay, and the glove thankfully is saving me. Okay, so that's it, everyone. The other thing to point out here is once you're done spray painting, always remember, if don't use this too much, turn it upside down when you're done and spray it for 2 or 3 seconds to get the nozzle clear. If you don't do that, you risk clogging it and ruining your whole can. So I'm just going to take it off camera, turn it upside down, 2 or 3 seconds, and then take a cloth, and it's fine if you want to put some paint thinner on here. That's fine. I don't. Just give it a quick wipe. Hopefully you're seeing all that. And that's it. And then put the cap back on, and it'll be good. So yeah, a lot of people see you turn up the paint can upside down, spray it, and think you're wasting it, but you're not. You're actually saving yourself heartache and a wasted can of paint. Okay, that's it for now. We'll see you on round 3. We're probably going to end up with about 6 or 7 of these rounds. From now on, though, I'm just going to spray it. And I won't do any talking, so I'll probably do a little fast-forward-y thing here. Okay, talk to you in a minute. Real quick note here, I forgot to mention something. I do have a fan off camera blowing this way. It's just on number 2 constant, so I'm going to let it sit here. I may just let it go overnight. Again, I'm not in a rush. It's not going to really make a difference. I haven't gone with the old hairdryer yet, so we're just taking our time with this. Okay, now, for real, back in a minute. Alright guys, this is pass number 3. I know I said I wasn't going to be talking on that, but I did forget to put a couple pieces in there, so I'm going to give them a quick once over there. Okay, and the reason I'm talking on this one here is, again, because I forgot to mention something before. I figured I wouldn't do that. So, again, going very, very big, broad strokes. I'm doing this before I settle in for the night. It's been a long day. Built a garden outside. Just giving it a quick glance. And it's quite warm out, so this will probably dry. I'm not going to do another coat tonight. So anyway, one of the reasons I am talking on this one as well is because, where did I put it? There it is. I put my pen. So I wanted just to point out that although this looks like it's very solid dark black, I just want to point out that in fact we do not have a solid black thing, and then if we were trying to light block this thing, you'd see it coming through. So we have a lot of work to do, folks, and that's why I said you got to be patient, and I'll let this stuff pool up because it's many coats. And with those many coats, if you do it too much at one time, it's going to get right under that paint and you'll have streaks. So again, looks great till we put the light under it. So again, I'm guessing 4 or 5 more coats even with this. And then also keep in mind, we are going to be doing the white, which will further block it. But I like to completely have it done in black for the most part before we go with the white. That way I know there's no nothing missed. And the other thing I do want to point out, we will be doing the other side with a black coat as well. So that will help. it's not going to be as much paint because there's so much nice detail on this model. I don't want to put too many coats of paint over the exterior, which would hide some of this wonderful paneling that came with the ship. And so we'll just do one or two, maybe three light coats of black over the outside exterior. Okay, all right, that's it. We'll catch you back with 4, and we'll keep counting. How you doing, everybody? So I've got the garage door open, and I might be talking a little quiet because it's pretty late, and neighbors might hear me. So if you can see there, that is my prized 1969 Chevy C20 truck that I inherited from my father. He bought it in 1971, and it's 2023, so it's been in the family for quite a long time. Had it restored and everything. It's my pride. So just in case you're wondering what that is there in the background, I wanted to take a little pause here. So we just did, I think, the 4th. So I just wanted to show the progress that we're doing. This the sides of the secondary hull look to be almost ready. Again, I'm just taking this little pen light, and it looks pretty solid. The cells are good. If you noticed in the last little segment, I hit them pretty hard, a little harder with the paint than I did with the other segments, and that's because there is no light coming through here. We didn't have to mask anything, so on parts that you're not masking, you can hit them a little harder. Now this one's going to be a little painful. It's hit it from the inside. It'll be okay. And then the saucer module, so we're getting there. I'm guessing 2 more coats. Again, I wanted to pause. We're not rushing anything on this channel, so if you're looking for quick builds, I guess look elsewhere. This one probably 2-3 more coats. Same with the top of the saucer, and maybe 1 or 2 more for the sides of the secondary hull. The tail fin were pretty good. It's maybe 1 more coat of this. Again, we're doing the tail part, all parts black, just to keep continuity and keep a consistency in color tone. We're no lights are coming through the tail fin, obviously, or the nacelles, other than the chiller grills. But again, we want the paint tone to be accurate all the way through. Okay, so that's it for this segment. I'm going to pause it again, and we'll go to, I think, round 5 of the painting, and it has dried pretty well. I mean, like what you just saw, I paused it, waited 30 seconds, opened the door to air out the garage, and I can touch this, so it's good. Okay, see you in a second. I hit this one a little bit harder than I wanted to, so I'm holding it upright to make sure that the paint doesn't pool too much. It's probably fine, but I did hit it a little bit harder than I intended. Should be okay. But again, that's why we go light, because if we go a little bit over light, then it's probably fine. So think about going light. So if you can see here, I don't know if you can, there's a little bit of a shininess to this, and that's about where you want to stop. So when you start seeing that, stop. There's some on here, so we're letting that dry. It's not enough to start pooling. All right, we're going to stop it here and take another look, and then probably have another round. Okay, here we are with round 6, and I'm just checking the pieces here. So looks like the secondary hull, the back end here needs some work. Pretty solid here on the front part where it matters. And then I'm also keeping in mind I am going to be giving a coat of primer and paint on the front as well as white on the inside. So it doesn't have to be 100% covered. Like right here, hopefully we can see this. That part's a little spotty, but then over here is fine. So back here looks like I missed some. And then the nacelles look good. We'll give them an extra shot just to be safe. Okay. Now, to the saucers, still some spottiness there and some spottiness here. So I think these two pieces here, the secondary hull and the saucer, secondary hull, one coat back here should do it. Maybe, well, I'll go 2 light coats. 2 light coats here, 2 light coats here, and then that will probably do it. And then when we're done with that part, we'll go ahead and paint it white, and then do have a couple tips to share of some things I picked up before. So with that, I'm going to just pause the video here while I shake up the can, and then we'll record the final painting. Okay, got the can all shook up. Got the glove on. Test, and I'm going to try to work it in there a little bit. I'm about to sneeze here. Excuse me. No, fumes kind of get to me. I am running out of paint here a little bit, so if it looks like I'm hitting it harder, longer than usual, just because there's not a lot coming out. Very light. Doing it just enough to where it looks wet. Okay. All right. Hit the nacelles a little bit, a little extra. Now, one thing I did learn from the last build of the Enterprise, the 650 scale, we're going to be going over here as far as painting is concerned. I didn't check these, but I'll just do a little spritz. As far as the inside on light blocking, so we're going to go over that when we're done. Very, very important. Don't let me forget. Okay, folks, we're going to let this dry, take another look at it, maybe give it one more coat, and maybe not, it might not need it, and might just be able to go straight to the white. We'll find out in a second. Okay, folks, here we go with the last round of the black spray for the interior of the ship here. And I've got, I think, just enough paint to do it. So one thing we're going to paint here also is this little bit of pieces here. We got a couple phaser arrays, and then these two parts are actually for the mounting. So I want to make sure and get them painted and not leave them behind. They can be hit a little bit hard. Sorry, I'm out of frame. They can be hit a little bit harder with the paint because there's no lights on there, just like the other pieces. So that'll be enough for that. And the other bits here, so I think the nacelles are done. Let me find the old flashlight here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start over. Okay, the nacelles are done there. And I'm going to put those to the side here. And the secondary hull is all but done. There's a few little bits here. I'm not too worried about it. I am going to hit the inside here again with some thicker paint. These hard to reach places just don't cover so easily with the spray paint. So you got to kind of go over that. And then we'll finish it off. It looks like the outside of the outside ring of the saucer is pretty good. We've got a few light spots here that we're going to do. So I'm going to give this a little heavier spray on this outer circle here, not the dish part, but this outer bit. I'm going to get it a little thin because there are no lights here. It's just flat. So I can hit it a little bit more straight on here, and I'll go lightly over the dish or concave part. For the upper part of the saucer module, we're pretty set. There's a few bits here, like there, we can see some coming through. So we're just gonna give this a light what for. Okay, really getting close to running out of paint here, you guys. So hopefully we'll be able to make it. If not, I'll just go grab another can of paint. I'm gonna have to anyway. So again, I'm going I'm going a little longer of a hit there, but I'm further away from the model, so it's a lot less getting on that. Yeah, and I think I don't think this is gonna cut it with this paint running out of it. I always like to use it all. I had another can that clogged up on me that was almost full, but I'm gonna have to soak that in some solvent or some lacquer thinner or something. Okay, I'm all done. It is out. So we're gonna pause here and hopefully be able to go pick up another can of paint real quick, and then we'll come and finish this off. I'll let this dry out, and then we'll talk some more. Be right back. Okay, all right, we're back with a fresh can of paint. I ran up to Walmart and got one, and I'm just going to be finishing up. So this had a bit of time to dry, so I'm going to be hitting this again. I held up to the light, and you know, as before, when you paint it and you think you've blocked it, you haven't. so there's that. And then we're going to give the inside of these here a little heavy shot. Being careful not to go too heavy where I know that the lights are, but in here there's no light, so I can be a little more liberal with the paint. And then again here, a little bit heavier on the outside if I can control it. Okay, spin it around. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but I can see wet spots, so when the paint's hitting it, I can see where it's touching. So if it looks like I'm being crazy with it, I'm really not. And now I'm going to hold it up and give it a little bit of a squirt on the inside, and that should do it for that. Put that over here. And then we're going to give it a lighter, nothing too heavy here. So, all right. Now, as before, we're going to turn the can upside down, spray it for a couple seconds to Get it all cleared out. Give it a quick wipe with a towel I don't want. Okay. All right, that should do it. Now, before I turn it off, I'm going to get the old pen light out and just do a quick... Yep, I don't see any bright spots. I do see some leaking out where the tape is, but that's fine. And probably... Oops, almost lost her. Okay, we're good. That should do it, everyone. Let's do... Yeah, looking good. Sweet. So I think in all that was 7 passes with the primer. And I have had a few suggestions from folks in the comments on another video on light blocking, and I'm going to be addressing those and responding to them. Some good suggestions there and some things to consider all the time from everybody. So I really appreciate any comments or even ideas anyone has, even if you haven't... let's say you have an idea and you haven't even tried. Throw it out there. Maybe someone has, and it might be worth giving it a shot. So all comments and suggestions are welcome, everybody. Okay, so we're going to move away from the paint station. Everything else was done. The nacelles were fine, and the tail section of the ship were fine. And we're going to go over back to the main area once this dries, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the next steps. And so we will see you in a couple seconds. All right, folks, we're back over at the model station now after priming everything, and I brought a couple of the pieces over here because I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the spots that get missed with that spray can. So I've got my little palette out here with a little bit of airbrush thinner, which is just acrylic paint thinner, and I've got a handy dandy model color black paint, and I'm just going to put a couple drops in there. And what we're going to do in this part here is we're going to be painting over or putting this black paint in these little parts of... I'm trying to hold this, I'm sorry. Darn it. Okay. Oh my goodness. Hello. How about we do that? Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is paint here, so where you see these little round bits, or any place where there's like a 90-degree angle, so there's this protrusion here, and maybe some back here where the paint can't really get to. We're going to go ahead and use a small brush and this black paint just to get it in the corners. Now, I did one part last night. I was really tired last night. And the recording didn't come out very good, but I did the same thing. I did do it over here, so where you see this is the top part of the saucer section. So here's the bridge, I guess the BC deck. So where you have these kind of steps going down in the middle of the model, where the plastic curves at a curving point or a corner, it won't stick very well. So I did go ahead and do that. I was very careful to not paint over or get too much paint where the tape is for the masking. So I just did it in the spots where there was no tape. And I don't think I went in here. Let's see. Let's get the flashlight underneath. And there's a little bit here at the neck, but it's not enough to worry about, because again, we're going to be painting white in here and then primer and paint on the outside. So I'm probably have done a little bit overkill on the priming, but it's fine. It's just I took my time. I want to make sure and get this right, because it's better to overdo it a little bit on the priming on the inside to make sure you get it right than get it all glued together and then all of a sudden you see this nasty light leak and you got to do something about it, which is always never fun. So okay, so putting the flashlight under here so you can see these little lines of light appearing. That's where we're going to be painting with the brush. And just dab it on nice and thick, and then put the piece aside to dry. Another area right here, it came through, so that was pretty. That's pretty evident. I might even go back and hit that with the spray can. In fact, yeah, I think I will. When I'm done, I'll go. It's probably on the other side as well. Yep, sure is. And the reason for that is because when I was painting this, I was mostly painting straight down into here. I didn't think of hitting this part. So again, another error on my part, that a little checking afterward to check all your pieces, it will pay off. And I really like using this pen light, because if this pen light is there, this is about the intensity of the LEDs, or it's a little brighter actually than the LEDs we're going to be installing in there. So if something comes through with the flashlight, then it's probably going to come through with the LEDs that you install. So it's a good tester. All right, so without further delay, let's just make sure this is the one, because I painted one of these last night along with that saucer, and it didn't come out good. I was all super tired and stumbling over my words a lot more than I usually do. Okay, so this is the one that looks like I did, and I'm just examining this thing again. So okay, well, we'll hit all of the protrusions, whatever they're called. I'm going to hit them. Paint. So again, I'm just generously splotching on this paint here, just to make sure we get everything covered. And there's no lights under here, so it's not going to affect anything, the appearance, other than just get this right. I'm gonna hit down in here. And even if I didn't do this, it might turn out okay. This is just to ensure it. So I'm gonna hit under the, I don't even know what this is. It's like a sensor array, or I have to look up what that is. That little rigid part in the top of the neck. Okay, now here there are some masks here, so I'm going to be very careful. I probably won't even touch it. I don't want paint to get under that. I'll just hit the side. Almost out of tape or paint here, and we'll go ahead and, oh, it looks like I didn't, a couple windows here. I'm like, I didn't mask these, and now I remember I chose not to mask that. So let's put a little bit more paint. I keep wanting to say tape. Let's put more tape on the palette, shall we? So we're gonna just hit it in here. And I'm going to have a lot of scraping to do for these edges that get glued on. Remember, the edges which get glue, we're going to be scraping all that paint off. There's quite a bit of it. I think this one should be, let's just get it in there. And one more protrusion nub thing, I don't know what to call it. And we'll hit a little bit in the back. Okay. All right, let's take another look before I wash the brush off. I'll take a look at here. I'm going to have to remember, okay, go back and spray these after I'm done. We won't show that. I mean, you guys saw enough of the spray painting, hopefully, to know how we're doing it. one more quick examination of the saucer. All right. Is there tape there? Nope. So right here, if you can see that little light, so I'm going to put a little bit of paint right in there. Make sure where it was. Yeah, it was right here. Just a little bit to ensure. I really like taking these extra few minutes, or even an hour, half an hour, whatever it is, just to do little stuff like this, because like I said, if you haven't lit a model before, it's great, and you get really excited until you're done and you see that glaring light leak, and it's just a bear to get these things fixed. Sometimes you end up having to put a little black paint on the outside of the model or some primer or something, and then you have to kind of blend that in with the rest of the paint, and it just never quite looks right. I mean, other people may not see it, but you know it's there, and you see it every time, and you're hoping a decal is going to go over it or something to cover it up. So little steps like this, a little patience and a little care, and a pen light will save you a lot of grief. So I'm just cleaning the brush off here. It is not getting very clean. Let me get... So this is a cool little thing I picked up at a model store in Las Vegas when I was visiting my mother. Nice Japanese store. It's called Tokyo One. If you're ever out in Las Vegas, I think it's called Tokyo One Model. They have a lot of Gundam and some Star Wars Bandai stuff, and a pretty decent selection of paints and little supplies and things like that, like this here jar. And I picked up little cups, little tin cups that are made out of kind of this material here for just whatever you need for paint mixing, what have you. And nice folks there. So this just has like a little, looks like a cheese shredder or something, but it's got little holes in it, and you run your brush across. And if you want to, you can let them soak in there for a little bit. I tend not to. I've heard you shouldn't soak your brushes for too long anyway. The chemicals will break down. This brush has kind of had it, though. I kind of use it for jobs that I don't really need detail on. Every now and then I'll go buy a new couple brushes, but they tend to last me. I don't do a lot of tiny minuscule work right now, so okay. Yeah, I was just talking to fill the time there. Okay, that's it for now. The next steps are going to be basically the same, where we're going to take it over to the paint station and spray paint white. I'm not going to film that. It's going to be the exact same process, everybody, where I super light coats of high gloss white, like very reflective white paint. Like we talked about before, some people use reflective chrome or silver or just flat and matte white. I'm just going with this glossy white because I want to see how it goes. It should be fine. There's no detriment to using that over anything else, in my opinion. The model's still going to look good for my purposes. So anyway, that's it. We're not going to film that, but I will come back and show you the result of it. And if I think of anything while painting, of course, I will probably butt in with a little side note, a 2-second video. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit, and when we're done, we will show the finalized white painting, and we'll talk about getting the model ready for laying down our lights, and that's going to be a fun part. We're going to make sure and do a little bit better job of showing that on this go around than we did with the Enterprise 1701, the 650. Okay, everybody, enough of me talking. We'll be back soon.